welcome back. Again, my name is Brent. I'm one of the trainers here at K9s Only, and this is our second episode of how we walk our dogs wrong. Now, in a city where most dogs live in apartment buildings just like this one, it's not uncommon for us to have to take our dogs out of the apartment to go poop and pee. But unfortunately, it can sometimes take up to 20, maybe 30 minutes for our dogs to figure out where they have to go. Now, if you're like me, there's a lot of other things I'd want to be doing other than waiting for my dog to use the restroom in those 20 or 30 minutes. But what if I told you that there's actually a way where we can narrow it down to about a 5-minute window to know exactly when our dogs had to poop or pee? If you're interested in finding out, go ahead and stick around because we got a lot of things to talk about in our next subject, which is bathroom breaks on the walk. Now, here are a couple behaviors that our dogs might develop on our walks. Our dogs could be a sniffer, meaning that they like to sniff everywhere looking for that perfect place to poop and pee. Number 2, our dogs could be a marker, which means they're looking for every tree, bush, and fire hydrant in the neighborhood so that way they can mark their territory. And number 3, our dogs could be the type of dog that is so distracted that they actually forget to use the restroom when we want them to. And unfortunately, this might lead to our dogs going poop and pee in all the wrong places. Now, to the untrained eye, these behaviors may not seem like anything of consequence. But as a dog specialist, it's my job to understand how little behaviors like pulling, marking, or sniffing can actually affect our dog's psychology over the long term. And how a very, very minuscule behavior can actually turn into something a little bit more than inconvenient. Now, sniffing is a very normal dog behavior. In fact, this is how dogs actually collect information from the environment. And when dogs are sniffing within the neighborhood, they're actually trying to collect information about all the current events and happenings that have recently happened in that neighborhood. Marking territory is a natural dog behavior that's been inherited from their canine ancestors for thousands and thousands of years. Originally, this behavior was used as a dog's calling card. Everything you would need to know about the dog can actually be found in the dog's scent trails. Another reason dogs would mark their territories is actually to ward off other animals from coming into their territories and threatening their food sources. In essence, marking territory is actually a warning to keep other animals out. As a dog owner, these behaviors may not seem substandard. In fact, they may even seem like the natural dog thing to do. But just because something is a natural behavior doesn't mean that it doesn't carry its own repercussions. All dogs across breed, gender, and age have their own set of instincts that help guide their behavior for the rest of their lives. Certain dogs have what we call more primitive instincts, which means they have a higher tendency of being a good hunter, being territorial, and being very, very protective of their things and their loved ones. 1 out of 3 people in Los Angeles own a dog. When these dogs walk, they usually walk on a fixed pattern around their block. They also most likely poop and pee in relatively the same places every day. Now, if we traced everywhere on the walk that Fido pooped and peed, we would actually be able to connect all the points to show what the dog feels is their natural territory. It doesn't seem like a problem at first, until we realize that other dogs are marking the exact same territory that our dogs are marking. Now, to most owners, it may just seem like their dogs are using the restroom, but this has the potential of actually turning into a territorial challenge amongst dogs. The issue with dogs who are heavy markers and sniffers on their walks is that dogs tend to obsess on these behaviors instead of actually paying attention to us. Now, as we discussed in our previous video, roaming naturally opens up the door to these types of behaviors. And unfortunately, if our dogs are indulging in these behaviors, they're not really spending the quality time that we require from them on our walks. Now, I really hope that this helps you understand why it's so important for us to manage our dogs' bathroom breaks better on our walks. So let me leave you with just a couple of tips. Tip number 1. Make sure that you designate areas on the walk that are okay for your dog to poop and pee. What will help you do this if you can narrow down, does my dog like to poop in the beginning, middle, or end of the walk? Then it's easier for you to choose where those areas are going to be. Now, tip number 2, Just refrain from allowing your dog to mark every tree, bush, or fire hydrant that they come across. Even though this might be an instinctual behavior, this behavior does not help us in our domestic living situations. So now, last but not least, tip number 3. Because your dog's gonna have a lot of time on their hands because they're not randomly marking or sniffing anymore, I want you to take advantage of that time and actually spend it with your dog. In a city where we have to work so much, time with our dogs is so precious. You can focus on focus exercises, obedience. You can even socialize your dog with things and areas that you normally don't socialize them with. And all of this will help develop a lot better quality of life for you and your pet. Now, I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys. There are 2 more videos coming in this series, so please stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.